As of today, there is 27 days left until my MAID application is finalized. For anyone that isn't familiar, that is medical assistance in dying here in the province of Ontario. I am a 33-year-old quadriplegic single mom raising 2 kids with disabilities.
I think we need to do something about this. Let's go to the studio.
Hey YouTube, it's Zach, and I know you enjoy my content making fun of the government, the real estate market, Bank of Canada, interest rates. This video is going to be a little bit different. I want to introduce you to Rose and her beautiful family. Her 3 sons, Riker, who's 10, Kelton, who's turning 9 very soon, June 26th, and Lachlan, who is 6. At the age of 17, Rose suffered the catastrophic spinal cord injury, leaving her quadriplegic. Rose is a single mom. She has a fire attitude and energy. She makes money and she raises her kids. Recently, Rose was not able to maintain her work, so she went to the government to ask for help until she can figure out something. She was given 2 options. Option number 1 is she can apply to ODSP, the Ontario Disability Support Program, which would be a wait time of 6 to 8 months. It would provide her and her kids with slightly lower than poverty level support. And option number 2 is MAID, medical assistance in dying, and the wait time for that is only 90 days. I decided I had to reach out to Rose and have a chat, so enjoy the interview. So Rose, you're a Leo. When's your birthday?
August 15th.
August 15th. Okay. I'm August 22nd. When I found out
Okay.
yesterday you're a Leo, I'm like, it makes sense. You have that fire in you.
It makes a lot of sense. Like anyone who's a Leo, they're like, yeah,
I got you.
yeah, it makes sense. And I'm like,
So, Rose, I wanted to ask you about some of the challenges that people with disabilities face on a day-to-day basis here in Canada.
well, I became a quadriplegic at the age of 17 after falling into a swimming pool and becoming a quadriplegic. And for the most part, I've lived 17 years feeling very privileged in a lot of ways. I became an accessibility consultant and disability rights advocate full time in 2015. And that's really when I started to become more aware of the challenges that people in my community are facing. Physical accessibility continues to be an issue in Ontario. Yes, we have the AODA, and we are supposed to be accessible by 2025, but we are so far away from that. And that's just one piece. Physical accessibility is only one piece. There's things like a lack of support, lack of care, lack of access to care, even. And then we start looking at our smaller communities, which is where I am currently living. And the infrastructure just simply isn't in place because, bigger communities get more funding from the government to have more resources in place. So there's a lot of people in smaller communities that don't have the resources and support that they need. And in some places, people are very fortunate to have a strong community where people kind of band together and make up for the lack. But that's not the case in every community, unfortunately. My life pre-injury, I mean, I was a 16-year-old kid. I was doing my thing. I was always very motivated. Actually, at 16, I was already working full time and doing school correspondence. So back then, back before the days of, everything being online, I was doing my school, writing in my workbooks, sending them in, and just work was my focus more so than my social life. I was very determined to be independent because I didn't grow up with a strong family support. My mother passed away when I was 6 years old, and my dad just really wasn't present. So my brothers and I were kind of bounced around and raised by different family members, which made having a catastrophic injury at the age of 16, almost 17, very difficult. And my life after my injury, again, was just I was very focused on recovery and becoming as independent as I could. So I've been a small business owner for the last 17 years, and it hasn't been easy. It's been a struggle because not only do I face the challenges of being a small business owner, But I have a lot of access issues, so things like not having the ability to just get out in my community and pound the pavement like a lot of small business owners do to drum up business and clients. I've had to be very creative and very adaptive, and so that's something that I think I'm pretty well versed in. The last couple years of my life, I've had to kind of gear down and focus more on my children. My two younger children have disabilities. My middle son has combination ADHD, and my little guy has type 1 diabetes. So that has been, and keeping things stable for them has been a really big focus of mine. But that doesn't work for finances. To keep the money flowing, to keep it all cohesive. So that's been a really big struggle for me. The community that I've lived in for the better part of the last 17 years, not the entire thing, thankfully. I have had experiences outside of this community. But where I live, it's very hard to find reliable personal care support.
Mhm.
And so for about the last year, I've been facing some major health complications with not having proper care. So kidney infections, urosepsis, uh, not a good thing. And it's really hard to try and keep your business running as a small business owner when you don't have care. Like, so for instance, for me, I can't independently get into my wheelchair. I can't independently use the bathroom. So if I'm not able to get up and use the bathroom independently, you can't take care of yourself. You really can't. You can't stay hydrated, you can't, and that's the other thing. So, because I've had kidney issues, well, how do you deal with that? The doctor's, recommendation is, "Just keep drinking." I can't do that. So it's been a very delicate balance of survival, and I feel like at this point, I'm not winning that game, which is a really scary place to be.
You have this positive outlook, and I feel the good energy and the fight in you. So you make it look like there's no, if you watch your TikTok channel, you feel okay, you're so positive. It must be super easy, but we don't see those challenges, right? You said you were working before. What were you doing? You said you have a small business?
What don't I do? Speaker, I'm an author, I published 3 books,
Wow.
and I'm a model. So my background is in holistic health. I opened my first practice at the age of 18, and I've just kind of gone from there. I'm a holistic health coach, an aromatherapist, an accessibility consultant, disability rights advocate. I recently got my mortgage license in the midst
Okay.
of chaos because school is where I go to seek refuge and solace, apparently. I guess when I feel like I've run out of options or backed into a corner, knowledge for me has always been how I pull myself self out of that. And so learning new skills where I thrive. And so in the midst of all of this chaos, the last 6 months, the opportunity to get my mortgage license came up and I jumped on it. And it's been really eye-opening, from a financial standpoint. It's knowledge that I think I could have definitely used sooner, being a homeowner myself. I'm excited to kinda step into a new venture and see where it takes me.
Question is made, right? I saw your TikTok. That's what got me shocked. What's so would you tell me a bit more about that?
This one is one that as an accessibility consultant and disability rights advocate, I've had on my radar for quite some time. Because there was a small window where people really should have been speaking up and throwing their hat in the ring with this one. And more of the focus was on people really rallying against medical assistance in dying in Ontario, not being made available for mental health issues. And while I agree that that's a whole separate bag, the fact that we let it be approved for disabled people just is like a red alert alarm for me. And while I support the program, I think it's a great thing when used properly. I don't think that it has been implemented in a way that provides enough safeguards for disabled people. So, for instance, um, the last 6 months not being able to work, financials have gotten really kind of crazy for me and unmanageable. And so this is the first time that I've had to explore applying for ODSP, which is Ontario Disability Support. And the wait list for Ontario Disability Support is 6 to 8 months. But the wait list for medical assistance in dying in Ontario is 91 days. You know, you are telling vulnerable people, and granted, thankfully, I'm not someone who has been fighting the system for very long. There are people who have been living on ODSP, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is forced poverty. And these people have been fighting for more support. You know, during the pandemic, the government decided that everyone needs at minimum $2,000 to live. People on ODSP are only receiving 1,300.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who, generally speaking, need more than the average Canadian. They have extra expenses, things like medical supplies. Some people need extra personal care, like products, things like that, that aren't covered. And these people are receiving less, not more. These are people who, the grocery store. So, for instance, where I live, we don't have enough accessible transit. For me, it would be closer for me to push myself to a grocery store than to a bus stop.
Wow.
And that is not like, even me pushing myself to a grocery store, it's unreasonable. It's not gonna happen, and I'm not gonna make it home with all my groceries. You know, I rely heavily on things like grocery pickup.
Mm.
As we know, grocery orders aren't free.
Expensive.
There's an extra cost for that.
Yeah.
I spoke with my member of parliament last week, and the general consensus of the government is that disabled people can't work.
You've been working until now, and you really just asked for help right now.
Exactly. And the disability support program in a lot of ways creates dependency because they think disabled people can't work. And my argument is that disabled people can work. We just need support to do it. Disabled people can do
Um,
just about everything that an able-bodied person can do
yeah.
with the right support. It's an access and support issue. It is not a disability issue.
You said you wanted to move to Toronto because you would have better access.
I've lived in Toronto, and I didn't have access or support issues in Toronto. And so that seems like a solution to me. I mean, obviously, you know, the cost of living is higher in Toronto and things like that. But I'm not really worried about that because I know that I can be financially self-sufficient when I have the right support. So, unfortunately, coming up with all of the costs and things that I would require to move, that is where the barrier exists. ODSP isn't really like, that's not a solution either. Why do I want to be signing up for forced poverty when I don't have to? So Toronto is definitely a better option for not only for me, but for my kids. If I stay here with a lack of support, I will die. That's even aside from MAID, just simply without support, I won't be able to continue living. And that is detrimental for my children, obviously. In order for me to continue this fight, me and my children need to be safe, secure, and stable. And I am very much a strong advocate and a strong voice for the disabled community, but I can't do that if I'm not okay.
Do you want to share anything else?
Yes, actually, I do. Something that I've been talking a lot more about lately is the fact that the statistics don't lie. And the average Canadian spends 8 to 11 years of their life with one or more disability. And so while these issues may not affect a lot of people right now, there's a good chance that they will affect you at some point in your life. And I guarantee you, you want to be fighting this fight now rather than when you are in a place of need. So that is my message to, all the other Canadians that are currently paying into these social programs thinking that one day they will be there to catch them should they need it. That's not the case. We need social reform and affirmative action immediately. And we need able bodied allies to make those changes because the disabled community has been silenced for so long. We just can't pull ourselves up out of this without more people rallying behind us.
I believe your son's birthday is coming up very soon. It's Kelton's birthday. He's gonna be 9. Do
It
you
is
have any
Kelton's
plans for
birthday.
that?
We don't have a lot of plans for that right now, which is kind of weighing on me because we've always kind of done things, but this year is just a little bit different. Finances are different, uh, access is different,
Fair.
support is different, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I mean, in lieu of making that happen for him, I'm just trying to do what I can.
Fair, fair. There's 3 ways we can help Rose. The first one is she has a GoFundMe set up, which would give her enough finances to move to Toronto and get the support and help she needs so she can take care of her family. The second one is very special. Kelton's birthday is coming up June 26th, and to help him celebrate, Rose has a Amazon wishlist set up so you can go and get Kelton a small gift. And the last one is Rose got her mortgage broker license, so if you know someone who's looking to refinance, get a new place, and they need to get their mortgage pre-approval, consider Rose. I'm a real estate agent. I'm definitely going to be advertising. I will put Rose's Linktree in the description. Seems like with the insane taxes we pay in this country, there should be enough money to provide people who need it with a decent life. Welcome to Canada. Seems like the money printer doesn't stop, but somehow things just keep getting worse. Thank you for watching.